This is our BBC. Hard questions.
Tell me what you're doing over here. You're just relaxing?
Soft hugs. Over 2 billion raised. Raising hopes. Faithfuls. Traitors. Navigators. Conductors. Disruptors. Fact-checking. Foxtrots. And family.
The BBC's put £5 billion into the economy.
There's a BBC for each of us. Funded by all of us. This is our BBC.
Hello, this is BBC News. A reminder of our headlines. The Palestine Red Crescent Society says one of its staff members has been killed in an Israeli attack on its headquarters in Gaza. It comes as hospitals say more Palestinians have been killed while seeking aid. Israel's far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir sparks anger after praying at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in violation of a long-standing agreement. And the Metropolitan Police confirm that a man has died after falling at an Oasis concert at Wembley Stadium on Saturday evening. And the UK's financial regulator estimates the total compensation for motorists mis-sold car finance could be £18 billion, as it announces that it will consult on an industry-wide compensation scheme following the Supreme Court ruling on Friday. Hello, I'm Luquessa Burak, and we're going to catch up with all the latest sport now. And with that, it's Hugh Ferris. Hello, Hugh.
Luquessa, hello to you. Lots to come in the next 15 minutes. The fifth test between England and India is dramatic, but as yet unresolved, while Charlie Hull has been fighting for a first major title. And it is a McLaren 1-2 in Hungary as the Formula One title race tightens. But first, a thrilling test series that will have a fitting conclusion, although not yet. With England needing 35 more runs to beat India and seal a 3-1 series win, the weather at the Oval intervened. It halted the day 4 action with the match situation very tense. Here's Joe Wilson.
At the Oval, England seeking 374 to win, pushing the very limits of Test match cricket as we used to know them. Ben Duckett to lead the chase, not this time. India got rid of Ollie Pope too before lunch LBW. Pressure on, Harry Brooks' response. Aim for the boundary, even if there's a fielder close to it. Mohammad Siraj was too close to it. That step meant it was 6 not out. Balance of the man, balance of the match. The mood changed there. Rapid scoring from the reprieved Brook. Measured progress by the masterful Joe Root, no problem. Suddenly, none of it seemed like a problem. 11 a.m, strong favourites for victory. By 3:30, India looked ragged. The footwork here was not fancy. Brook lost his bat before tea and his wicket caught finally, but he'd made 111 and England were past 300. Even when Joe Root made his 100, he thought more broadly. That headband is a tribute to the late Graham Thorpe, hugely influential. 37 left to win, Joe Root was dismissed. India were reignited. Ben Stokes could only watch, like so many. Confident now? Exactly. Height of tension and it stopped. Bad light with England needing 35 to win and Chris Woakes waiting, arm in a sling.
Well, persistent rain did follow the bad light and the umpires decided they could not continue. So on this sporting precipice, we will resume on the final day. Joe Wilson, BBC News, at the Oval.
So then 35 needed on that final day for England to win this final test match against India, for whom it is 4 wickets, including, as we just saw, Chris Woakes potentially. He has a shoulder injury and, if needed, might have to bat with one arm, the way things are looking. So it all gets underway again at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. There is still some cricket to be played. Here's Joe Root.
I think we're in a good position. We'll turn up tomorrow. We've got another heavy roller available. Things might happen quicker with the new ball for us as well. It might be easier to score. That ball's quite soft now, so there's a lot of things in our favour, and we've got so much ability left in the dressing room. So clearly they've had a good little passage of play, and as I say, things have ebbed and flowed throughout the whole series. But tomorrow could be a real good opportunity for us to get across the line.
Highlights on BBC Two from 7 o'clock this evening. Meanwhile, it looks like England's Charlie Hull is going to miss out on winning the Women's Open, despite coming very close on the final day at Royal Porthcawl. The day started in unusual fashion. Have a look at this from Mimi Rhodes. Players had been hitting it close at the par 3 fifth all day, but Rhodes managed to hit her ball into her playing partners, and in it went. That counts. It was a hole-in-one. At the top of the leaderboard, Hull was chasing her first major title. She is the joint clubhouse leader on 9 under par, but so far, no one has been able to catch Japan's Miyu Yamashita. She is playing the last hole. She is on the green. She has a 2-shot lead, which may well be enough for her to claim the Women's Open title. The Hungaroring was celebrating 40 years since its first Formula One Grand Prix, and no team has won more times there than McLaren. A 13th victory today in Hungary, and a 1-2 as well, with Lando Norris beating teammate Oscar Piastri to reduce his teammate's lead in the drivers' standings to just 9 points, as Natalie Perks reports.
By his own admission, Charles Leclerc couldn't believe his Ferrari would be starting on pole.
And it's lights out, away we go.
But to hold on, he'd need a good start. He got one, unlike Lando Norris.
Horrible start for Lando Norris.
Lewis Hamilton chastised himself as useless after qualifying. Max Verstappen was adding to his woes. Hamilton was on a one-stop strategy. Norris rolled the dice and opted for the same. And with Leclerc and Piastri having to pit again, it left Norris out front. If he could pull this off, it would be quite something. Piastri saw an opportunity. He was eating into Lando's lead with every lap. As Leclerc saw his podium dream disappear,
But George Russell does get through.
Piastri on fresher tyres tried to snatch the win.
He lunges, he locks up.
On a race to the flag, Norris held him off, though, for yet another McLaren 1-2.
And it's victory for Lando Norris.
Tough but fun racing against with Oscar, and great for us as a team. Another 1-2, our 200th win actually in Formula One. So no, credits to Oscar. I mean, he put up a good charge, and I just about held on. So I look forward to plenty more of these.
The summer break is here, and the title race is heating up. Natalie Perks, BBC News.
Song Heung-min made an emotional farewell as he played what is likely to be his final game for Tottenham in front of his home supporters in South Korea. The pre-season friendly against Newcastle finished 1-1 at the Seoul World Cup Stadium, where after the match, Son had some goodbyes to give and receive. The forward has spent 10 years with the Premier League side and as captain lifted their first major trophy in 17 years when Spurs won the Europa League back in May.
Unbelievable, beautiful scenes with his teammates, the big respect from Newcastle. Can't praise that highly enough from the players on the pitch. The scenes after, first when we walk around, and then when his teammates gathered around him, and you can see he's highly emotional. And then in the change room as well, I just said a few things very shortly because it's about Sonny, and then he said a few things, of course, very emotional. So very, very beautiful scenes about Son.
Manchester United boss Ruben Amorim has admitted he left his house for some games last season knowing his team wouldn't be competitive. He's about to enter his first full season in charge of United and insists they're in a better place as they prepare for the final game of their US tour against Everton in Atlanta later.
I felt that sometimes we will struggle. All the struggles that we had in the games, I feel it before the game. So that is the hardest part, is to go to the game and know that we are not going to be competitive how we should be. Now we have to perform, and I really like the pressure. And I will be okay. If I have the feeling that before the game that we are going to be competitive, we'll be okay. It's a team thing. It's more like all the culture, the pace, the intensity, all these things, is to understand the way we want to play. And last year was tough to do that with so many games and so many problems. That is the truth. We are in the better place, but we are just in the beginning. But because even the pressure of the game is going to be different. We are playing well. You can feel more freedom in the players, but then when he starts Premier League, it's going to be different. We will be ready for that, but I truly believe that there are a lot of players can do better, and I can do better.
Well, so far the theme of the opening weekend of the Scottish Premiership season has been draws, not least Rangers yesterday, while champions Celtic were also heading that way today, until a very late winner. Patrick Geary watched their 1-0 victory over St Mirren.
Celtic began this season as they ended the last, carrying the league trophy and facing St Mirren. For the Hoops, success has become cyclical, but it took a while to find the old rhythms. First half stoppage time, Benjamin Nygren on debut. Goalkeeper Shamal George onto the bar, some save. He'd be needed again. Rio Hurtate's shot took a bizarre deflection, saved by accident. Fortune fluctuating in the course of a second. Ricochets matter. This one ended in Callum McGregor's path. The breakthrough. But VAR spotted an arm. No goal. St Mirren had fought hard and earned their luck, but it was being stretched. Adam Eder, surely, no. But champions are not fatalistic. They find a way. Luke McCowan saw the angle and took the chance. Celtic begin not with fluency, but with victory, starting as they mean to finish. Patrick Geary, BBC News.
Well, Falkirk marked their return to the top flight with a 2-2 draw against Dundee United. They came from behind twice to get a point, with Ethan Ross scoring late in what was their first game back in the Premiership in 15 years. After just missing out on promotion last season, Stockport County started this one with a win over a local rival, beating Bolton Wanderers 2-0. Stockport finished third last time around, so we'll be hoping this is the year that they can get promotion back to the second tier for the first time since 2001. The goals at Edgeley Park come from debutant Malik Mothersill, and then that late header from Kyle Wootton. Let's have a look at some of the other stories making the headlines today in the world of sport. And Pauline Ferrand-Prévot has become the first French rider to win the modern women's Tour de France after dominating the final stage. She broke free of her rivals with 4 miles to go and went on to claim her second stage victory by 20 seconds. Kyron Wilson beat Ali Carter 11 frames to 9 to win the Shanghai Masters for the second time. The match looked to be going to a decider before Wilson produced a clearance to win on the black and claimed the title exactly a decade after his first in Shanghai. He takes home a top prize of £210,000. And Welshman Elfyn Evans has returned to the top of the drivers' standings in the World Rally Championship despite only finishing 4th at the event in Finland. His Toyota teammate Kalle Rovanperä won his home event by 39 seconds. Evans is now 3 points clear of title rival Ott Tänak, who could only finish 10th. To athletics, Dina Asher-Smith had to run a championship record to win the 200 metres British title in Birmingham this afternoon. She clocked a time of 22.14 seconds, at a very tight finish with the 100 metres winner from yesterday, Amy Hunt, who also ran the same time, but a photo finish showed that Asher-Smith just did enough to win. The former 200 metres world champion says she has her eyes set on reclaiming that title in Tokyo in September.
I focus on me always. I mean, I've done this for long enough to know the only thing that matters is the championships and like Tokyo and round, making sure that you're qualifying and performing. So I just mind my own business.
Well, we know you've done it before. You've been world champion over 200. It'd be great if you could do it again.
I would love that. I mean, I'm in great shape. That was a great run from me, and still there's a few things in there that I can tweak. So yeah, I'm happy.
Zarnell Hughes leaves Birmingham with a sprint double, and his championship record in the 200 metres final put him a lot further ahead of his rivals than Asher-Smith, finishing at a time of 19.94 seconds to add to his 100 metres title yesterday, with the sights 2 now set on Tokyo.
I think I can go a lot much faster. My coach will get me a lot much sharper, closer to the championship, because it's still a month and something to go. So I'm excited to see what I can do. Dropped under that 20-second barrier again. Let's go, baby.
Well, Josh Kerr showed his range, stepping up to comfortably win the 5,000 metres by a huge margin. He's the world champion at 1,500, and the Olympic silver medalist at the same distance put on a dominant display, finishing almost 9 seconds ahead of the second-place runner. Kerr was confident after the race that he'd successfully defend his world title.
Yeah, it's definitely on the cards. It's about, you know, making sure that I'm listening to my coaching staff and everyone around me, because they're the stable heads in the situation. I'm just antsy and ready to go. And, you know, this title's been British for about 3-4 years, and it's going to hopefully stay British in the next couple of years. It's my job to do that, and we have a fantastic set of 1,500 guys you'll see out there today going after it as well. So we're in a great spot in the UK.
Well, a big upset in the women's 1,500 metres. Sarah Calvert just pipping the Olympic silver medalist Laura Muir to the title. She overtook Muir in the dying seconds to secure what is the biggest win of her career, and also for her, in the 1,500, a spot in Tokyo. Well, Georgia Hunter-Bell focused on the 800 this year after winning the British title at the 1,500 metres last time, but the result was the same. She dominated the race. She stormed to victory ahead of Gemma Reekie. She has now qualified for both middle distances in Tokyo.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. Got a lot of thinking to do over the next 2 weeks, but yeah, I needed to come here and earn my place in the 800. So just really happy to have done that today in front of a really good field. It has been a nice surprise. Like, we started to notice in training in like May that I was just responding really well to the 800. So we were like, oh, maybe something to think about. It was my first ever race when I was 10 years old, so going back to the original.
Beth Shriver has claimed a third world title at the BMX Racing World Championships in Denmark. Shriver had struggled in her semi-final after a bad start, but she got everything right in the final in Copenhagen, leading from the start and eventually beating Australia's Olympic champion, Saya Sakakibara, by more than a second.
Feels absolutely incredible. Like, it was a mad day of racing. I think I'm speaking on behalf of all the athletes here today. It was crazy, and it was a bit up and down for me. Scraped through the semi. I just said this is all or nothing now, and yeah, I'm gassed to take home the win.
It's a day of winning titles for athletes all over the world. They include at Royal Porthcawl in Wales, where Miyu Yamashita of Japan has sealed the Women's Open title. She did so by 2 shots, played that final hole to perfection to make sure she stayed ahead of the rest of the field, including England's Charlie Hull, who was joint for second. You can get highlights of that a little bit later on, 20 to midnight on BBC Two, while the cricket is about to start. If you couldn't follow today at the test, you can do so via the BBC Sport website and the iPlayer as well. But that's it. Back to you, Loquessa.
It's been an exciting day of sport here. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Now, weather warnings have been upgraded to amber for most of Scotland as storm Floris approaches with unusually strong winds predicted. The warning, which comes into effect at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, means there is danger to life and there could be damage to buildings and trees. There's also a yellow warning across northern England, North Wales and Northern Ireland from 6 a.m. Our reporter Gillian Sharp is in Glasgow.
The Met Office says Storm Floris will bring with it unseasonably strong and disruptive winds for Scotland tomorrow. Now, we're no stranger to winter storms here, but this is the summer and it's different. People are on holiday, they're enjoying the outdoors. In fact, people are being advised to stay indoors as much as possible, and if they are outside, not to walk or shelter near buildings or trees. There's going to be travel disruption too. On the railways, speed restrictions, some delays, some cancellations, no trains north of the Central Belt after midday, and cross-border trains will also be affected. On the roads, if you are travelling, the advice is to take it slowly and avoid towing anything like a caravan if you can. Disruption too expected on the ferries, so the advice is really to check before you set out.
And of course you can check on the BBC News website. Now, a massive fire at an oil depot near Russia's Black Sea port resort of Sochi has been blamed by the Kremlin on a Ukrainian drone attack. It's part of a series of strikes on Russian military infrastructure over the weekend. In response, Russia has attacked a number of Ukrainian cities, including a missile strike which destroyed homes and civilian infrastructure in Ukraine's southern city of Mykolaiv. With the very latest, here's our World News correspondent, Joe Inwood.
Hearing drones in the sky and gunfire on the ground, residents in the city of Samara start filming. When a fuel tank at an oil refinery is hit. This was one of several Ukrainian drone strikes launched over the weekend, targeting installations across the south of Russia. A massive fire was also caused at an oil depot near the Black Sea resort of Sochi, causing nearby flights to be cancelled.
I want to express my gratitude for our special long-range operations on Russian territory. Their impact is significant, and each of them is tangible for the enemy. and our operations will continue. Russia is dragging out the war, so it will receive just responses.
Overnight, Russia launched its own attacks, as it often has, hitting Ukrainian cities. This was Mykolaiv in the south, where homes and civilian infrastructure was destroyed. Local authorities say at least 7 people were injured in this frontline city, so often the target of Russian fire. Just to the southeast, Kherson was also hit. Authorities say a bridge across the Dnipro River was badly damaged and urged residents to evacuate. It comes at the end of a particularly deadly week for Ukraine, including an attack on Kyiv that killed 31 people. President Trump has set a deadline of Friday for Vladimir Putin to end the war. That looks as far away as ever. Joe Inwood, BBC News.
The trial of the deposed Bangladeshi Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, has begun in Dhaka, where she's facing charges of crimes against humanity, allegedly committed during a mass uprising against her rule last year. Ms Hasina, who fled to India, is being tried in absentia. She's accused of ordering the use of lethal weapons to target protesters a year ago. Ms Hasina denies the charges and says she's not received any formal legal notices. Now, police helicopters used for monitoring major incidents, for catching criminals and, of course, also for searching for missing persons in remote locations are pretty costly to run. So the National Police Air Service has been testing an unmanned police helicopter for the first time. It is much larger than existing drones that are currently used and can travel a lot further. Dan Johnson has been to watch the initial test flight.
Liftoff for the new police eye in the sky. Robocopter. It's leaner, greener and cheaper.
This aircraft can fly up to around 8 to 12 hours.
And it can stay up for much longer.
We get calls daily with a variety of different use cases, from missing persons, pursuits, calls around the electric bikes and things like that. And it's very costly to deploy our helicopters on an hourly basis. This offers us an opportunity to deploy the same type of capability to provide a more affordable air support whilst also still retaining our crewed aircraft as well for the likes of the higher speed pursuits, etc., which those aircraft are designed to be doing.
We're told this doesn't mean an end to crewed police helicopters. It's supposed to complement the fleet, but it could mean an end to the noise complaints because it is a lot quieter.
Cardiff radar, this is X-ray 1, nothing heard. Up.
There's still a crew of 2, a pilot and a spotter, but flying with their feet firmly on the ground.
What you're looking at there is what I would see in the aircraft. So my job as an observer, tactical flight officer, doesn't change.
Aren't you going to miss actually flying?
It's a blended, we're not replacing the aircraft. We're not replacing the helicopters, so it's going to be a blended fleet.
Thank you, free speed, descent flight level 150, Tom Jet 698.
It's got the same high-powered camera and infrared ability to spot suspects or missing people. The Coast Guard uses something similar to search the seas, but this will be the first to fly over residential areas, and it could mean more unmanned aircraft taking to our skies.
We're really excited about the opportunities for emergency services. We're also working with healthcare providers to see what we might be able to do in healthcare. We're working with companies like Network Rail and Seize AI to look at opportunities around infrastructure surveillance. And we're just generally really excited about what we think unmanned aircraft systems might be able to enable in the future.
This is still a prototype in early stage test flights, but the chopper without a copper is likely to be a reality in the next few years. Dan Johnson, BBC News, Avonmouth.
A community in Bradford has come together to create a piece of artwork using drawings and coloured glass that tells the life stories of its local people. The sculpture, which took 2 years to complete, is now on display in the city's cathedral. Our reporter Kathy Killick has been to see it.
Shining like a lantern of hope in Bradford Cathedral, this beautiful artwork could not exist without the men and women of the city. It started with rope, rocks and flowers, and people making a timeline of their lives.
They had to think symbolically about the difficult parts of life, the joyful parts of life,
and then they drew small pictures to reveal something about their own lives.
This is a picture of the youth club in West Bowling, where we used to go on an evening, something for us to do.
My children came along, so that were happy.
It's a good question, Mark, because these are the highlights coming out of it, because I know there's only good going to come from the future now, as long as I keep on this path to recovery.
It's about telling your life story, and mine's been up and down most of my life, so I was adopted from birth. My mum had a brain tumour, so I had to be kind of given away to some friends. So it wasn't a proper adoption, I just got handed over.
This lady came from Pakistan, so the butterfly was her birth. She remembers falling down the stairs, I don't know why. This picture is an image of her father being shot, obviously very traumatic. But the last picture is a smiling face and a long line. This describes how she waited for 3 years to get a visa to come to the UK and is very happy to be here.
The artist spent 2 years on the project, and a film of the process is shown alongside the lantern as an equal part of the artwork.
That there are so many different people in Bradford, and they all have positive, interesting stories, and together, even the hardest things that have happened can look beautiful.
The finished result is both a symbol of survival and resilience, but also of togetherness and unity. Bradford's myriad lives coming together to make a vibrant work of art. Kathy Kinnick, BBC News.
Well, do stay with us here on BBC News, because my colleague Nikki Schiller will be with you shortly. In the meantime, all the top stories can be found on the BBC News website. Take care.
Good evening. Storm Floris is going to dominate the UK weather on Monday. This storm named by the Met Office, which has issued an amber warning covering northern and central Scotland. 80 to 90 mile per hour wind gusts are possible in the most exposed spots. Pretty unusual for this time of year. Here is the approaching storm, this deepening area of low pressure, which is pushing towards the northwest of the UK. Rain setting in across Northern Ireland, and then after midnight getting into Scotland. Some quite heavy rain at that. Also some wet and blustery weather developing in northern England and North Wales. The winds are expected to peak around the late morning towards lunchtime around the Western Isles, gusts of 80 to possibly 90 miles per hour. The strongest winds then transferring into the northeast of Scotland. But Met Office yellow warnings also cover Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England into North Wales, and it will be a blustery day right across the country. A band of rain pushing southwards, rain lingering in the north of Scotland right through the afternoon. But this area of low pressure will start to move away northeastwards during Monday night. On Tuesday, though, still a lot of isobars on the charts. That means it is going to still be quite windy, quite blustery out there. Sunny spells, some showers, especially across the northern half of the country. Wednesday looks like a drier day. More rain into the north and west on Thursday. You can check your local forecasts on the BBC Weather app.
The girl who walked into the BBC in 1999 as a trainee would not have believed the experiences that I have had. When I first started covering women's sport, many people weren't terribly interested. The first time I realised that the women's game had progressed as much as it has was when England played at Wembley for the first time ever.
Wembley Way is packed with supporters. We just walked down there to get to the stadium.
To turn around and look around that stadium, packed out. You do try to be impartial as a journalist, but I'm not ashamed to say I shed a tear on that day. They had achieved something every little girl now dreams of. Representation is incredibly important because you've got to see it to be it. I've been incredibly privileged to have had a front seat to watch women's sport grow into this incredible force. And now we've got the next generation waiting in the wings to hopefully take it further.
Disinformation.
There is no climate.
You think you're winning.
The
pandemic wasn't real?
Fooling people in the most sophisticated ways.
Control the Met Police. Social media posts.
You fueled hate and confusion. And you make our job seem almost impossible.
Fake news.
Almost. You see, it's because of you we get up in the morning and work through the night, all over the world. The more you try to drown out reality, the harder we'll work to verify the facts. We will find your sleights of hand and expose them. So no matter how hard it gets, we'll never give up. We'll be watching. We'll be ready. It's the pursuit of truth that gives us our calling. The fight for truth is on.
Live from London, this is BBC News. The Palestine Red Crescent Society says one of its staff members has been killed in an Israeli attack on its headquarters in Gaza. Israel's far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir sparks anger after praying at the Al-Aqsa compound in violation of a long-standing agreement. A man has died after falling at an Oasis concert at London's Wembley Stadium. The band say they're shocked and saddened. Compensation for UK motorists who were mis-sold car finance could cost the industry £18 billion. And Pope Leo tells a gathering of 1 million mostly young Catholics that a better world is possible and they should not settle for less. Hello, I'm Nicky Schiller. Welcome to the programme. We start this hour with the situation in Gaza. Hospital officials say Israeli forces have killed at least another 27 Palestinians seeking aid as the starvation crisis in the territory grows. The Palestine Red Crescent Society says one of its staff members, named as Omar Mansour Isleem, was killed in an Israeli attack on their headquarters in Har Yunis. The Israeli army says it is looking at the incident. It all comes as the UK government is planning to get seriously ill or injured children out of Gaza and bring them to the UK for medical treatment. Like other international news organisations, Israel doesn't allow the BBC to report independently from inside the territory. Our international editor, Jeremy Bowen, now reports from Jerusalem. And just to warn you, his report contains images of severely malnourished children.
In Gaza, getting food or trying to can get you killed.
It's kids, it's children.
The Israeli military is firing live bullets.
Stay there.
Crowd control. You can hear the voices of the UN team who filmed this from inside their vehicle. They're waiting for a UN convoy crossing into southern Gaza.
Don't do this now.
Then they saw the lorries and rushed them anyway.
Check your doors locked, check your doors locked, manual lock as well, safety lock as well.
In Gaza City, the dead from another desperate crowd in the north of the Strip were buried. Their families said they were shot by the Israelis as they tried to get food. Abu Rami al-Masri said his son Wael was killed when the Israelis fired a tank shell. He's saying he went to get food, flour, or anything, as we haven't got food. His brother was killed before that a while ago, trying to do the same thing. Children with existing medical problems are among the most vulnerable. Sama Mata is desperate for food for her sons, Youssef 6 and Amir 4. Both boys have cerebral palsy. Now they're suffering from malnutrition.
Before the war, their health was excellent. They were provided with special meals, fruits, vegetables, and dairy products. I used to keep chicken soup in the freezer for them, as well as biscuits and cakes. Now, all these things are unavailable.
Mossab al-Dibs was a healthy 14-year-old until a serious head wound in an Israeli airstrike on the 7th of May left him paralyzed and semi-conscious. And now he's severely malnourished. His mother, Shahnaz, tries to comfort him.
You will get better, I promise, okay? Someone will make us lentils.
A short drive north of Gaza in Tel Aviv, supporters of the remaining hostages held by Hamas blocked roads. Their anguish is made worse by the latest Hamas video of Eviatar David, badly emaciated. The BBC isn't showing hostage videos made under duress. This was how Eviatar looked before the war.
Hostages kidnapped.
Daniel Lipsich's grandparents were Hamas hostages. His grandmother was released. His grandfather's body was recovered.
And we need everyone in the world to take an action on the image of Hamas and call them to stand in the negotiation table, release all the hostages unconditionally, to bring a ceasefire to Gaza, to continue to flood Gaza with humanitarian aid.